Big welcome to everyone joining us today. I'm Olivia Barnes, Regional Head Domestic and Onshore, and I'll be hosting the session this afternoon. I begin today by acknowledging the Gadigal people, traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Thank you for joining today. I understand that most of us are joining in lockdown, and I hope everybody is staying safe. This afternoon, we have a team of experts online ready to share lots of helpful information with you and help get you started on your way to UTS through UTS College. So let's have a look at today's agenda. So firstly, we're going to discuss pathways and how they work, and also run through some of the benefits and then the pathway options that we have here at UTS College. You'll meet some of our current students who will share their personal experiences and share some experiences of the time with us, and then the time at the university as well. And then we will run through some of the nuts and bolts of how to apply, how to accept offers, and then of course open up the floor to a Q&A. Throughout the session, please feel free to add any questions to the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. We'll answer those throughout the session and of course answer some of them live at the end of the session as well. So let's get started. We've got a packed agenda and it's my pleasure to introduce Susan Sheringham and Justin Chu to join the webinar, please. Get you to turn your cameras on. Yeah, I can see you both. Hi, how are you?
Well, thanks, Olivia.
Good. I see Justin has joined as well.
Yeah, how are you? Yeah,
hi,
good.
Justin. So just to introduce you to Justin and Susan, Justin Chu is our Program Manager for Science, and Justin has over 15 years of teaching experience, both in secondary and tertiary education. He joined UTS College in 2015 and has coordinated and lectured 3 of our life science subjects. Susan is our Program Manager for Foundation Studies, and Susan has over 20 years of experience across secondary, vocational and tertiary education sectors. As the Program Manager for the Foundation Program, Sue leads curriculum development with a real focus on how to enhance the development of 21st century skills and to prepare students for university. Thank you so much for joining. Before we jump into some of the UTS College options, I really wanted to run through a little bit more around the pathways in the first year of higher education studies, because they're so important for students to understand and a good thing for us to talk about today. Justin, can I start with you? Perhaps a good place to start is UTS College pathways. What exactly is a pathway?
Thank you, Olivia. So the UTS College pathway is, if you don't get direct entry into UTS, UTS College provides you with an alternative options that guarantee you an entry into UTS. As the pathway to UTS, we help you to develop the knowledge, experience, and skills to succeed at university and beyond. And that is the reasons why we work in collaboration with UTS to ensure your studies prepare you for your next step at university. When you successfully complete your studies at UTS College, you will receive guaranteed entry to the corresponding UTS undergraduate degree.
Great, thank you. Susan, perhaps I could get you to sort of talk a little bit around how pathway course or the UTS College pathway course is different from a typical first year at UTS, and also what are some of the similarities?
Yes, of course. So in terms of difference, learning with us is student-centred, and that means that there are high levels of student support and attention to individual students to enable students to succeed. We can do this because we have much smaller classes, usually around 20 in a class as opposed to 40 to 60, and around 60 in a lecture versus up to 350. UTS College also provides learning experiences that are focused on developing those skills that students need to be independent learners. And UTS just expects students to have those right from the get-go. In terms of being similar, I guess our programs are created in collaboration with UTS. So we have the same first year curriculum, and the outcomes that students achieve are also the same as UTS first year. We offer the same high quality education, and students also have access to the world-class facilities that UTS has on offer on their campus, plus clubs and societies. So they're really part of the UTS community right from the get-go.
Great, thanks, Sue. One thing I think that I'm really keen to talk about is first year of university and why it's so important in first year of tertiary studies. Why is the first year so important, and what value can a pathway program offer to a student?
Okay, so the first year at university is a really critical time for students. It's a real transition from a high school sort of education, which is more student supported, teacher directed, and they're going into a self-directed learning environment at university, and this can be really overwhelming. The research in Australia has shown that over the entire course of a bachelor's degree, 60% of students who withdraw in the first year. So that just shows how much pressure students sometimes feel under in their first year. So pathways create an exceptionally supportive environment to help students become independent learners. And that means we prepare them for the challenging studies and demands that they'll face at university. In fact, support at UTS College is so good that 95% of our students actually make it across to the bachelor's at UTS, which is fantastic. And what's also fantastic is that they perform on par as students who go directly to UTS.
Great, thanks, Sue. Justin, we've talked a little bit about some of the risks of first year. What puts a student at risk of dropping out in first year? What factors contribute to that?
From my experience, there are a couple of reasons or factors. So first, the students are not always prepared for independent learning. So it may result in poor attendance, they don't show up, they miss the content and lose the motivation to continue and submit the assessment tasks. Second is I've seen students who do not have the confidence they need, so they do not know who and where to ask for help. Third, some students have too many commitments outside their studies, for example, working more than 25 hours per week. And finally, there could be social factors attaching to this dropping out reason as well. So there is no sense of belongings, they don't have social network, they don't make friends or peers in their study. So I think these are the 4 major reasons.
Great, thanks, Justin. So let's flip that. What factors are going to set a student up for success in their first year?
I think in my opinion is to have your senses, but these senses, I'm not talking about the one that you learn from your biology, the 5 senses. It's about your sense of identity to start with. You feel validated as a university student. You are a first year student. You know what your interest is. You know what program you are studying. And then you will build up your sense of purpose or direction or commitment. So you know that by studying this diploma, your end goal is to go to the UTS. So when you look at your study, you look at what skills you need to build up in each subject. And as I just mentioned, there could be factors relating to the social factors. So you really need to build up your sense of belongings and connections with, for example, it could be with your subject, with your discipline. You make connection with your teachers, you make connection with your peers, and also UTS College as a whole. So Susan, do you want to share some of your approach as well?
Sure. I think that you've touched on most of the key areas, which is about developing a student's confidence, also resilience, and also, I guess, their agency to reach out and get help and be an independent learner.
Great, thanks, Sue. Just as an extension of that, we've sort of talked about some of those important factors. What does UTS College do to help cultivate a positive first year experience for our students?
Well, first and foremost, as I've said before, we put students at the centre. And what we aim to do is create a really positive and supportive community, a learning community, and it's really like an extended family. So students can feel confident and comfortable and able to operate in this environment. So it's nurturing in that very vulnerable first year to help students find themselves. And we start off with Welcome Week. And that's a time where students can be oriented and prepared for their studies, meet their peers and teachers and start to make relationships with those people and make new friends. In class, our teachers are dedicated, supportive and really caring. and they go above and beyond for our students. And in some of the more challenging subjects, we have peer helpers, and essentially that's when other students come in and they've done the subject before, they know how to navigate it. So they help the new students to do the same thing. And then out of class, we've got a lot of support. We've got study success advisors, we've got academic skills workshops, we've got a helps program that helps students with academic English. We've got a 24/7 online tutoring service called Studiosity, and that provides academic support through live chat and feedback. And then we've also got Talk Campus, which is an app that connects students with professionals and peers if they're having some mental health or wellbeing issues and they just need that extra support.
Great, so definitely some exciting new initiatives there, and some good technology options as well. So what happens if we identify a student who we think may be at risk of falling behind?
Okay, yes, that's very important. So our curriculum's been designed to identify students who are at risk very early in their studies, because it's important that we identify them early so they don't fall through the cracks, so to speak. And we use a technology called Dropout Detective as part of that process, and that helps us to identify students that need support. Then our subject coordinators and teachers work closely with students so they get to know them very well, and it's very easy for them to see if a student is struggling and needs extra help. We run exam and assessment clinics, so we make sure students are well prepared for their assessments. And then for students who might have learning difficulties or mental health issues or physical impairments, we can make reasonable adjustments to their studies to support them. And finally, we've got our great study success advisors, and they're like guides, if you like. They help students really navigate through their course and also to find the extra help that they need.
Great, thanks. So lots of support for students, and
A lot, yes.
Great tools in place to catch students early if they're struggling. One thing that I'm aware of, that I think maybe our audience isn't necessarily, is the close collaboration between UTS and UTS College. Justin, perhaps I could get you to sort of talk about, in your respective area, how do students benefit from this close collaboration between the university and the college?
Yeah, sure. In science and also in other diploma programs, we collaborate with the UTS. So the learning outcomes in our diploma courses are the same as those in the first year of the UTS undergraduate degree. So it is the same world-class university standards. And because the college and the UTS, we work together, our graduate can often fast track into the second year of the UTS degree. And also our student can have access to UTS facilities such as the science laboratory labs, the computer labs, and the library.
Great, thanks. So lots of collaboration between the two. Justin, I know that we've recently developed an integrated learning model, so it'd be great if you could share a little bit about this and talk more to the point how it prepares students for university and beyond.
Yeah, sure. Just let me talk about this very briefly. So it's actually a transition to university focus. It's as Susan just mentioned, it's a student-centered curriculum. So we emphasize the independent and academic learning skills. And these skills are the lifelong learning skills that give the students the ability to evolve and adapt to new challenges. So the learning is experiential, hands-on, and collaborative approach. And our focus in our curriculum is on analysis, critical thinking, creative thinking, experimentation, problem solving, group work, presentation, and leadership.
Great, thanks, Justin. I know currently UTS College is following the New South Wales government restrictions and guidelines, and such our teaching and learning are conducted via live online. When restrictions do begin to ease, UTS College will return to our integrated learning model. Perhaps, Sue, just to conclude the chat, what is live online and what will the integrated model look like once students can return to the campus?
Okay, thanks, Olivia. So live online and the integral model of learning are both forms of blended learning. The key difference at this stage is that classes in live online are done through video conferencing software, whereas when we go back to campus, we'll have real-time face-to-face classes with the teachers and fellow students. However, the way we run live online learning allows students to communicate and collaborate with people all over Australia and the rest of the world and make connections just as they would in a classroom. So students learning live online receive the same high level of academic support with immediate and constructive feedback from their teachers, and also support out of class, which is timely and keeps them on track. Learning live online means that students still enjoy the benefits of small class sizes and being engaged in hands-on learning that is practical and applied as far as it can be online. Most things we can still do online, some things we can't, obviously. But basically our students learn through doing rather than just theory. They have theory, but then they also need to apply it. And that's the same in both live online and the integrated learning model. There are the same support services, obviously, that we've been talking about. And learning online actually provides students with an additional, I guess, benefit, and that is that they're mastering digital skills, which are so important for their future studies and also for their lifelong learning and professional life. And that will continue in the integrated model, because as part of the integrated model, students are learning in face-to-face classes, but they're also learning through online activities. And those online activities have been designed to support students through multimodal ways. So not just listening, not just reading, but through videos, through discussions, through interactive apps. So there are lots of ways into the curriculum for students, and they can choose which way suits them best in terms of their learning preferences. So that's really fantastic, because obviously everyone has different preferences in that regard. And then outside of the class, lots of things are set up so students can still collaborate with each other, but then also learn independently, a little bit at their own pace, and then with the extra support to keep them on track. But when we return to campus, for those students who are in Sydney, who are local, we'll have live face-to-face classes back on campus again as soon as the health advice allows us to do that. And then lectures, I believe, will still be delivered online and recorded, which means students can go back and review that content.
Great, thank you so much, Sue and Justin. Such great information, and we're about to hear from some of our students so they can give their perspective on some of the information you've shared as well. So thank you so much, and it was a pleasure having you join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now going to move on to our student panel, and it's always an absolute pleasure to hear from our students and learn from their experiences. I'd like to invite, Chris is online, I can see him there. So Chris is a UTS College graduate and a current UTS student, and today Chris is going to facilitate a discussion with some of our current students, Talia and Brady. Hi everyone. I'll now pass over to Chris, who's going to have a chat to you and hear about all your experiences. Thanks everyone.
Thank you very much, Olivia. Hello, everyone. As said before, my name's Chris, and thank you for joining us today. Look, especially on days like open days, there's so much information going around that it is, quite difficult for somebody to assess their options and take a look at all the important information. So the goal for this segment is to hear from a few of our current students and former students, such as the faces you see here currently. So let's start it off. Talia, Brady, nice to see you again. Shall we introduce ourselves to the audience and what we currently study? Talia, let's start with you.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name's Talia, and I'm currently in my final semester of the Diploma of Science in the Life Sciences course.
Excellent. Now, Brady, your turn.
Hi everyone, I'm Brady, and I'm in my second semester of the Life Sciences course.
Okay, double. So great. So with me, I graduated the Diploma of Engineering from UTS College, and from there it transitioned into, I guess, it used to be ICT engineering, so now it would be software engineering, the full degree at UTS. So we all have different reasons for choosing to study at UTS College. In my case, I went to a relatively well-performing academic school, but I didn't really have much of a drive, much of a idea of what I wanted to study. But coming through, I knew I was good at software design and development. I wanted to study at UTS, and when inevitably I didn't do well in my HSC, which looking back on it seems a bit more, I went to look for my options at UTS, and I found out about UTS College, and so it seemed like the no-brainer choice for me. Brady, what was your UTS College story?
Okay, so I graduated the class of 2020, so it was also a COVID year, same as the class of 2021. And to be honest, my HSC didn't go very well. I can't fully blame it on COVID, but I would say that caused a major struggle. So before I got my ATAR, I started looking for options, and that's where I found the UTS College. And ever since then, I knew I wanted to apply for that, and it was a very quick process, and I really enjoy it.
I feel that. I feel that. Yep. Talia, your turn.
So yeah, kind of similar to both Chris and Brady, my HSC didn't go as well as planned. I actually ended up taking a gap year to kind of find myself and, you know, kind of decide what I wanted to do, because after I got my ATAR and finished high school, I was pretty lost. So having that gap year really helped me kind of come to an idea of what I wanted to do. And I knew I loved science. So I ended up deciding that I want to do medicine. And obviously I didn't get the ATAR I needed to get into that. So I actually found through the UTS handbook about UTS College and how I can use the Diploma of Science to get me into the course I need to be in.
Yeah, that's excellent. Actually, on that note, with you taking a gap year in between, so you did study high school here and take a gap year. How did you find the transition from high school to a learning environment like UTS College?
Yeah, so I was definitely a bit, you know, apprehensive at first, because I'd spent a whole year doing I was working full time, so I wasn't doing nothing, but I hadn't really been in an environment where I had to kind of develop independent learning skills or have a lot of pressures and deadlines on myself. So it's definitely a bit daunting at first, but I found that I was given a lot of support at UTS College. My study success advisors made sure to keep in touch and email me about different programs that were on to kind of help me settle into the college. And as time went on, I did develop those independent learning skills that are really going to set the foundation for my future studies. And yeah, so it ended up being a pretty seamless transition. I was well supported, and, you know, that anxiety that I had initially was kind of looked after.
Excellent. That's great to hear. Brady, so speaking of class of 2020 being online, with that system that we have at UTS College currently, live online, it's a new concept to many of us. It does provide this opportunity to students to further their education and not delay even in a situation like this. Brady, how was your experience so far with live online?
Yeah, so I did live online for a couple of weeks during my year 12 year. And honestly, it's not too different, but I find the UTS College to be much more supportive than I found my high school live online to be. As Talia said, there's a lot of student success advisors as well, and they're always making sure that you're, doing the best that you can and offering help to you all the time. So even your lecturers are always wanting to help as well, which is really nice, knowing you have a really good support system from a diverse group of people.
That's excellent. And Talia, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, so I definitely did. I found a lot of support from both my lecturers and even my peers. Live online in a science degree was definitely very interesting at first, because I was like, how am I going to get my practical skills in? I'm not going to have a chance to do any labs. But, I found that with live online, I wasn't hindered in obtaining the skills required to work in a lab. At the end of last semester, I got to do the intensive courses and actually go into the lab. And I found that, pretty easy. Like, I didn't have much difficulty in actually completing the practical tasks, because I did learn those skills when I was doing live online in those labs. So yeah, I definitely didn't feel hindered in my learning experience, which is quite surprising, to be honest. But, it's good to know that even if we are put into a situation where we do need to study online, you don't have to worry about not being able to acquire those skills.
Excellent. And actually, on that note, quickly, within the engineering degree, students also have the chance to do labs via computer control, not just in on campus, via remote labs. That was a while ago, but yeah. So it's actually you actually do get to retain that knowledge. Any questions for me?
Yes, so I actually do have a question for you. As I said earlier, I am graduating from the college at the end of this semester, and I'm super excited to join UTS in the autumn session commencing in February of next year. UTS provides the skills and obviously the knowledge that we need to thrive in the following years of our chosen course. Did you feel like you had an advantage over other students who may not have gone through a similar pathway program like we have?
So with me going through UTS College, my confidence coming in wasn't very pronounced. And the main thing that helped me was the support and building the connections at the college to prepare me to go into UTS. So academically, the smaller classes, I got to know all my tutors. Shout out to Gustavo, Matt Smalling one. And also the sort of social network in that a student also has classes. I had some classes from UTS College at UTS and also got to do extracurricular things also. So it's sort of that the close support in both aspects that I felt like when I went into UTS, I already built up a base for me to succeed, essentially.
Great. That's really great to hear. Thank you for that, Chris. Brady, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. So say I've finished my diploma at UTS College and I'm looking to go on to my bachelor's degree at UTS. What would the process of transferring there look like for me?
So in terms of going from the college to UTS specifically, it was actually very simple. It was pretty much, I finished the diploma, UAC came up, I put in my first preference for the engineering degree I wanted, and that was it. I had guaranteed entry because of my GPA, grade point average. In terms of information, UTS College hosted a few seminar events to talk about what it's like to go from, what needs to be prepared to go from the college to UTS. But I mean, I talked about this with the last question. I already knew the campus and I already did some extracurricular volunteering activities. And from there, it just kept on going through, really. Righty. Now, speaking of clubs, and we've alluded to this, uni, there's so much more to both UTS and UTS College than just studying, as we talked about the extracurriculars before. You do have a chance to get work experience in, build connections and friendships, most importantly. And the main catalyst to do so at the college is the student social scene, aka the Student Activities Club. Brady, how was your experience with that? Because I do know a little bit that you are well known here and there through the Activities Club.
Yeah, so I'm in a few clubs at the UTS College. I'm also the leader of the volleyball club. So if anyone's interested in joining that when you come here, let me know. But honestly, the clubs are all really fun. There's something for everyone. We have a gardening club, a fashion club, there's a cooking club, and there's video games and everything. They're always hosting game nights. And back when we could do volleyball with each other, we would meet up every week near Circular Quay. And the good thing is that the club isn't just run by one person. Everyone gets a say in what they feel is necessary for the club and what they would like to do. So yeah, it's not just a single person experience. It's like a whole team working together, and it's really fun.
And actually, on that final note, that students can bring in their ideas. That is a huge thing about the UTS College Student Activities Club. If you do want to bring in a club and do have some ideas, you do have that chance, and it's invaluable experience too. We have a little bit of time left. Maybe just very quickly, just posing to you two, what would your advice to be to potential students just who wants to study at the college, just relatively quickly? Talia, let's start with you.
So if I had one piece of advice, it would be to, really put yourself out there. When you're in classes, don't be afraid to ask questions. If it's one thing that's been drilled into my head during my time at the college, is that there's never a stupid question. So, don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Make sure to kind of collaborate, involve yourself in discussions, and just really make the most out of your time here at the college.
Yep, Brady? Yes.
For me, I think the key piece of advice I could give you is to plan out your time well. Because live online, it's not easy, but it still works. And as long as you are still dedicated in what you do and plan out your time accordingly and stick to a good study schedule, then you can succeed in almost anything you do at UTS and UTS College.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I believe that's it. Olivia?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Talia and Brady, also for sharing your stories. Just so great to hear about your experiences, and good luck for everything at UTS. I'm sure you'll be in for a great time. Just also a reminder to the audience to add any questions into the Q&A, and we're happy to answer those as the session goes on. I'll now pass back over to Justin and Susan. You've heard a lot about our programs and how they work, so they're just going to run through all the different diploma programs we have and a lot of the nuts and bolts, so that will give you a good insight into our offering here at UTS College. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Olivia. So let me introduce the range of diploma programs that we have. So as you can see on the screen, that we have a range of diploma programs from business to communication to design architecture to engineering to IT and science. Next. On this page, I want to show you, on the left-hand side, you see these are the 6 diploma that I just introduced to you, from business all the way to science. And then on the right-hand side is the bachelor degree. So let me take business as an example. So if you are studying the Diploma of Business, so after you finish your Diploma of Business, you will have 8 majors in Bachelor of Business for you to choose from. So that means the majors means they are the focus choices within the business discipline for you to choose from. So so as you can see, each diploma is bridging to a range of majors in the UTS bachelor degree. So it's actually opening up many different possibilities, and there must be one program for you. In our diploma offering, we have actually 3 options for you. So as you can see, these options are accelerated, standard, and extended. The commonality between these 3 programs, they all study the same subject as first year UTS program. However, the duration is different. So for accelerated program is a 2-semester program. Standard is a 3-semester one, while the extended one is a 4-semester one. So for the accelerated and standard, they are basically the same. However, the subjects will be spread through over 2 semesters in the accelerated program, while in standard, it will be 3. So you can imagine that in the accelerated program, your workload is more intense, while in standard, you will have more time to improve your skills. For extended program, this is a program for students who may not be confident with their knowledge or skills in a particular discipline. So we offer the same subject as first year UTS. In addition to that, we have some enabling subjects. For example, if you study Diploma of Engineering, so we will have enabling subjects like physics fundamentals and intro to mathematics for you to enhance your foundation and fundamental skills. And in addition to that, we have academic English and academic communication to improve your presentation and English ready for the university. So that's why this program will take you 4 semesters. So here I will explain or talk about why students choose our pathway. Basically, it's for 5 reasons. So the first reason is about your end goal is actually going to the UTS. So you will receive your guaranteed entry to UTS once you successfully complete your diploma. And most of our students go to fast track to the 2nd year at UTS. And while you are studying with us, you get personalized support. So as Susan mentioned, there are a range of support to meet the needs of every student. And our design of our diploma have the same first year university outcome as UTS because we have very close collaboration with them. And while you are with UTS College, you have all the access to UTS facilities. Let's go to the next page. You see why I say that you have easy access to UTS facilities. So if you look at the map here, so the UTS colleges, our campus have 3 buildings. So the one in the middle is actually what we call Blue Building, which is located on Thomas Street. And then we have 2 more buildings on the top left-hand corner. Is the two buildings on Harris Street. So these are the places where you have on-campus classes at UTS College. And then within the 5-minute walking distance or radius, you will see that you can reach easily to the UTS Library, UTS Tower, and also the UTS Science Lab and Computer Labs within the 5 minutes distance. So it's very convenient, it's available for you. And then I pass this to Susan to explain the live online.
Thanks, Justin. Most of this I've already spoken about before, but I guess this is just to reiterate why live online is still such a fantastic way to learn. So we still have the same high quality curriculum, and basically that's the same curriculum that you would be studying if you're at UTS. We have those small tutorials or workshop classes, which means you have a much more personalised engagement with your peers and with your teacher. We have that extensive academic and IT support for you in the classroom and outside of the classroom. We have workshops to help you with your academic study skills and your academic learning skills. The live online classes are real-time classes, and they have really engaging content and interactive learning, which is very similar to face-to-face classes. And you'll get to collaborate with people across Sydney and also across the world. It's fantastic meeting people from different nationalities and learning about their cultures and their way of life and how that relates to the subjects you're learning. We use an online learning system called Canvas, and that's where we house all of your learning materials. That's where assessments reside. So basically it's a portal into everything you need to access for your subjects. And within that portal, we have learning resources, learning activities, videos, quizzes, interactive apps, all sorts of modes of accessing the curriculum and experiencing it so that it's, I guess, tailored in some way to you as an individual. I've spoken to you about the student support as well, and it really is world class. But just to reiterate, we have the study success advisors, and they're really like guides for you. They help you with all sorts of issues related to your studies and help you find access to the support you need. We have those workshops so you can build your skills around academic learning, also digital skills and language skills. We have Studiosity that helps you by providing written feedback or live chat, and it's a 24/7 academic assistance service, so it means you can get help anytime, anywhere. And they come back to you within 24 hours if it's for written feedback, and generally for live chat, you can get help straight away. We have the peer support and mentoring as part of the support we provide here at the college. And so that's both inside class support, but we also have a mentoring support service, which is for students who might be finding it a little bit hard or a little bit isolating to be studying online or at the college. So we buddy you up with another student to help you with that social side. We have the Help Centre, which is about academic English language to help support you in your study. And then, of course, we've got ITDS, Service Desk and Student Centre to guide you through problems that you might be having or questions that you might have. And one thing that's not on here is, of course, you have access to UTS Library and the staff there, and they also have great support for students to help them find the resources they need. and to navigate the library.
Thanks, Susan, and thanks, Dustin, for sharing that information. I'd now like to introduce you to Aline Chiron from our team. Hi, Aline. And Aline is going to run through the nuts and bolts of the entry requirements, the fees, intake dates as well. So I'll pass over to Aline.
Thank you, Olivia. Yes, so my name is Aline and I work at UTS College. I'll try to answer all of those questions you have. I've seen in the chat already some questions about entry requirements, intake dates, also the fees, how to apply, how to accept the offer. So I'll take you through. All right, so just in a nutshell, this is summarizing how the pathway works when you do a diploma. So right now, I'm assuming that majority of you are doing high school, so probably in year 11 or maybe even year 12. So HSC is coming up very soon, and good luck for that. So once you have finished your HSC, I'll get back into how we calculate that. But then you can enter the diploma program. And then, as Justine explained to you before, we have 3 durations, so 8 months, 12 months, or 16 months. Depending on the degree you want to be doing at UTS, you can enter either the first year or the second year. Majority of our diploma programs will give you a full credit for 1 year, meaning that, yes, you don't need to do another year, and you can go straight into the second year. The beauty of it, as we've explained to you before, is that the place is guaranteed. So if you have reached the GPA, meaning that you can actually go straight into the second year, you don't need to reapply, your place is guaranteed at UTS. Okay, so the entry requirements, and yes, again, I've seen some questions about that in the chat, so it's probably easier to answer this question live. So the difference with UTS College comparing to universities is that we do not look at your ATA, we look at your HSC average. We believe it's a better way to actually measure if you can start at UTS College. It represents your skills a bit better. So the way we calculate it is that we take your HSC average. We take your English mark, which is 2 units, plus your top 3 board developed courses, which is a total of 6 units. So we put them together, then we have an average out of 100%. So once we have that, then we can determine whether you can choose, you can start in the accelerated, the standard, or the extended diploma. And I'll tell you what are those courses right now. So for the accelerated diploma, which is again 8 months program, so the quickest one, we will need a 75% in your HSC. For the standard diploma, so the 12 months program, we will need 67%. And for the extended diploma, so don't panic if you don't get the 67%, you will only need 63% in your HSC to start our extended diploma, which is this one, 16 months. The good thing about those different durations is not just about the entry requirements that are different, but let's say you don't want to be starting in March. We have several intakes, and I'll get back to that later. So you might be able to actually start a bit later and do everything in 8 months and then still join at UTS in March the year after. So you have different entry points and also different duration. So basically we can tailor something that suits your study plan and when you want to study, how you want to study. Okay, so the fees, again, I saw some questions about that in the chat. So again, easier to answer them live. So for the diploma, accelerated and standard, because those ones, you'll have to study the same amount of subjects, whether it's accelerated or standard. The price is the same, and it's going to be $33,000 next year. Extended one, 16 months, because there are more subjects to study, as Justine explained, it's going to be $41,000. Now, you might be wondering why this is more expensive than studying straight into the first year at UTS, and there are different reasons for that. We've explained to you that you have extra personalized support, and the ratio teacher and student in the classroom is not the same. It's only 20 students per classroom. So all of those extra personalized support is included in the fees. Now, a few other things as well you need to know, which is justifying the higher cost compared to first year university, is that we do not receive any fund from the government, unlike universities. So again, that's why it's a bit higher. Also, we are a non-for-profit organization, meaning that every cent, every dollar we receive, we reinvest them into our resources, into our teachers, into our campus, the facilities, equipments, and lots of different things. So yeah, these are the main reasons why we are more expensive. However, the good news is that if you are a domestic student, you can get fee help, and our admission team can help you with that as well. So yeah, pop online, have a look. This is really well explained, but yes, fee help is available for you guys. Also, I saw some questions about that too in regards to the intakes. So every year we have 3 intakes, which is in March, June, July, and then September, October. So the next one, if you have already completed your HSC, we can actually you can actually start straight away in September. And the last day to submit your application will be the 20th of September, and the last day to accept will be the 22nd of September. If you are doing your HSC this year, the next intake for you would be the 28th of February. And the last day to submit your application will be the 21st, when the last day to accept your offer will be the 23rd of February. And I'll explain what it means to accept your offer, because there are different stages to apply, accept, and then start. However, in saying this, this is important to remember that even though you still have a bit of time, I would advise you to actually apply now, so that you can get a conditional offer. And then once you've got your HSC results, it's actually a faster process for us to, issue a full conditional offer, and at least you will have an offer on hand. So I would advise you to lodge an application now, and you don't need to do that through UAC, and I'll tell you how to do it. So 3 easy steps. You can go into our website. There is an icon where you can click on, which says apply now. It will take you to our online application portal. I'll tell you the sort of documents you will need to have. Actually, on the portal, it tells you anyways. And then you just need to click the different, fields, and this is it. And then you'll hear from us a few days after that. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Once you have clicked on the apply now, it will take you there. Again, you'll have a few documents to prepare, but basically click on the register one so that you can create an account with us. Okay, so the sort of documents you will need are your transcripts or any completion certificate if you have already completed any degree, maybe at TAFE or another diploma somewhere. Your certified copies of your passport, your birth certificates, Australian citizenship, or any visa if you're an international student. Any other relevant documentation that you think would be helpful for your application, and your TFN if you want to apply for fee help. Okay, so once you have applied, you'll hear from us, and then you will get either a full offer or a conditional offer. If you are doing your HSC this year, and so you haven't completed it yet, you will receive a conditional offer. Once you have your HSC on hand, you've got the results and everything, just go back online. But instead of clicking on register, please click on login. Then you can log in and you can accept your offer. So again, there are different steps for you to accept your offer. You'll have to have a USI, a unique student identifier. And also once you have activated your UTS email account, then everything will just follow and you will be able to start with us. So this was for domestic students. Now, if we do have some international students with us today, the process is slightly different. You will need to apply through an agent, an education agent. If you don't have any yet, I advise you please to go online. There is a list of all of the agents we work with anywhere in the world. We have a lot here in Australia and Sydney as well. All of those agents have been working with us for several years, and they are our trusted agents. So talk to them. They can help you with any questions you have, and your visa, your application, and everything else. So yeah, have a look at the scholarships, have a look online, and there is a list there. Now, so as I told you, we have different intake throughout the year. If you were starting this semester, so semester 3, end of September, with us, by doing an accelerated diploma, you would be able to actually start at UTS in mid-year, so July 2022, if you were doing business, communication, architecture, engineering, IT, or science. So again, different entry points, different duration, meaning that you can have your own personalized study plan. I think that was it for me. It's a lot of information, I know that, so don't hesitate to pop your questions on the Q&A and we'll answer them. Thank you.
Thanks, Aline, for sharing all that helpful information. That concludes our presentation. So we'll now move into the Q&A section. I can see quite a few questions have gone in and people are starting to answer those. And there's some questions here that I know the team will be really happy to answer. While you're dropping in questions, I might just introduce you to the panel of experts that we have available. So Justin and Susan, you've already met. We also have Alex Su, our program manager for design and architecture. We have Jasmine Cheng, I think she's joining, our program manager for engineering and IT. Laura, I can see there. Laura is a subject coordinator for business. We also have Binu from our student centre, Sophia from our admission centre, and Aline, who you just met, from our recruitment team. So we have lots of people available. I know we are getting a bit short of time, but I've got a few questions here. In terms of the Diploma of Design, what percentage of theory versus practical content is there in the program? And will the practical is the practical on campus?
Thanks, Olivia. That's a good question. In design and architecture, we focus on three main components. We teach our students academic communication and theory, design theory. We also look at technical communication, which is how to draw, how to sketch, how to use software. And we also have actual design and conceptualization work. And so they're roughly one third each. Throughout the diploma, students will find that the first semester is a bit more theory heavy, but as the semesters progress, it becomes more and more practical based. Our practical studios, when regulations allow, would be back on campus, yes.
Thank you. Laura, a question for you about the Diploma of Business. I think it's more around the articulation. So should I study the Diploma of Business or the Diploma of Communication if I want to get into the Bachelor of Management? So perhaps you could just talk a little bit around the business pathways.
Sure. If you, hi everyone, I'm Laura. If you do the Diploma of Business with us at UTS College, you will do an array of business subjects in that first year. And one of those subjects does include management. So that would give you a really good taste of what it's like to study management. And then you can make your choice going down the track. When you get into second year of the business degree at UTS, then you can choose what you'd like to major in as well. So you may choose to major in management. A lot of students are really interested in that at the moment, and you could complement that with something else like economics or finance.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Justin, I have a question here around the Diploma of Science, and I think this is probably relevant to all the diplomas, about the content. So does the Diploma of Science, physical science, have the same content as HSC, physics, maths, chemistry, or is it more advanced? So I think this is probably a question that would apply to all of our diploma programs in relation to HSC subjects.
Yeah, thank you, Olivia. So a short answer would be more advanced. However, our subjects are carefully designed. So students will actually start with subjects at year 11, 12 level. So you can see that chemistry 1, physical aspect of nature, and foundation mathematics are more at HSC level. And once you have built up your foundation, then the student will study more advanced subjects like chemistry 2, physics in action, material science, and math modeling 1.
Great. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Sophia, can I get you to turn your camera on? Are you available? Just got a question here. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. I've just got a question around the acceptance process. So perhaps you could talk around a little bit around that process of application and that processing, and then the acceptance as well, the sort of timelines that students would be looking at.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Well, the application process is going to be very easy and then very simplified. As soon as you submit your application via our student portal, or if you are an international student, you will need an agent to assess your application via agent portal. As soon as we receive your application online, we will process with the conditional offer. If you are currently in year 12, the conditional will be sent to your self email address or your agent's one within 48 hours. And once you complete your HSC, you even do not need to provide us with your final result because we have access to UX, verify your result. And then your full offer will be sent to you shortly just after the HSC release. And so as I mentioned, like our procedure is very simple and straightforward.
And I think this is probably the last question, unless there's any more in the chat, just to Susan. I know you touched on this in your presentation, but just if you could just recap on the class sizes for lectures and tutorials at UTS College, that would be great.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Olivia. So the class sizes across the diplomas are capped at 20. So the average class size is 20 at the college, as opposed to anywhere from 40 to 60 at UTS. Some classes at the college are actually a lot smaller than 20. You might have 12 or 15. It just depends on how many students are studying that particular subject. And then for lectures, our lectures are generally capped at around 60. And then at UTS University, they can be anywhere up to 350 students in a lecture. So far less personalised than what we can offer you.
Thank you, Susan. And thank you to everyone. I don't have any more questions. I know that you've been answering them throughout the session. So I'm going to close today's session. Just an invitation to those attending that we have a one-to-one chat during Open Week. So on Tuesday next week from 4 to 7, feel free to jump on and ask us more questions. We also have a number of upcoming events, and we'll run those right through until February next year. So we have an event page, and I'd invite you to keep an eye on that, and you can find the details. A lot of these links are going to be posted in the chat now. For those of you that are currently studying in Year 12, I would encourage you to apply. You can even apply this weekend and get in early. And as Sophia said, you can have a conditional offer based on the completion of your HSC. For those of you joining us that are sitting on offers and maybe considering semester 3 or semester 1 next year, we'll touch base with you and see if you have any questions. The last day to accept your offer for semester 3 is approaching. So for those of you thinking about semester 3, don't miss out. This will allow you to start your UTS degree in July next year. All the links will be in the chat for you to get more information. I really hope you found today's session informative, and it's reassured you that there's lots of options out there to support you to get into your desired course at UTS. Thanks again for joining. Stay safe and have a good weekend. Bye.